There are normal freshmen, and then there's Caleb Wilson. This dude is absolutely relentless.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Thursday, August 28th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listener watch to get your Thursday going the right way. Want to welcome in all the everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. Remember, join that now because football starts on Monday. You're going to want to be in there for all the great conversation. And if you want to be a Locked On Tar Heels insider, that link is in the show notes as well. Joining me on the show today is our good buddy, Coach Bill Robinson, fresh off teaching his first class of the semester there at Milligan. Great stuff. Coach Rob is the head coach at Milligan University. He is also a 2-decade veteran of working Carolina's basketball camp in the summer, Carolina Basketball School. In fact, he's written this great book, Carolina Basketball School, that you need to have on your shelf right now. Because I do. I carry this with me everywhere I go so that when we record together, I can hold it up and say, you need to get your copy. You can find it on Amazon from Coach directly if you want to get it signed. Just a couple months away from Christmas. No time like the present to get it going. Coming up on the show today, Coach and I are going to discuss Caleb Wilson, his drive, his relentlessness. You know, Tyler Hansbrough brought us into this show, and I just thought an appropriate voice because that man was relentless himself. We're going to talk Luca Bogavots. We just got a little snippet from Carolina social media team on Tuesday, but boy, that little snippet I think has brought some life into the Carolina fan base. Some Luka the point guard-ness out of that, and if so, what would it mean for the Tar Heels? All right, Coach, let's start with Caleb Wilson here. This dude, Coach, I use the word in the cold open, is absolutely relentless. I feel like we hear it and talk about a lot of freshmen, but it just feels like he's doing it at a different level. Is what you're seeing from him normal for freshmen or what?
Yeah, it's not normal at all. And I think we've seen a little bit of that split personality that we hope for, that sweet disposition off the court, very humble, very unassuming. Hey, I'm Caleb. I played basketball here. That attitude, which is really cool because he becomes an absolute terror on the court and he becomes a monster. And that's it's very rare for a kid that's 19 years old to be able to seemingly be mature enough to handle both his life on and off the court. So, I mean, we're all excited. We've been talking about him all summer. To see some workouts in practice gear and things like that has just got us more excited about him. And he's as special as anybody we've seen in a long time.
Man, like you see these videos, Coach. Like there was the workout video that we saw earlier in the week of him in the gym, and you know, I know everybody's working out, everybody's getting their shots up and in, but I mean, this dude is always posting pictures on Instagram and other stuff of like being up at 5 a.m. and grinding and doing it. Like just in your experience, I mean, you've been doing this for literally decades, Coach. How often does someone come along that is that self-driven? It doesn't have to be forced on him by you and a staff, for example. How often do you see that?
Not often at all. And this is a kid I think who understands his potential. He understands what the task is ahead. He understands this is a one-year thing at Carolina. He wants to win a national championship. He wants to establish himself in the draft for next year. But he understands that takes a full commitment, an all-in commitment, whether it's in the weight room, whether it's working out, and even classroom work. It all goes together, even though you sit and say, well, why does that matter if he's going to go pro anyway? It does. It's part of the discipline. It's part of becoming an adult, and he understands the whole package. And it takes something special within a kid not to force him to have to do those things. And I think that's why he's going to be successful, not just in NBA basketball, but in life.
And it's funny, you talked about that hopeful 1 year at Carolina. Part of the way he ensures it's 1 year at Carolina is by doing exactly what he's doing, right? Like it is those things that NBA front offices are watching right now. Like don't be fooled and don't be an idiot to think that they're not looking in on all that social media and everything that's going on. This is a savvy approach. Now, Coach, as you think about how that affects the team, because you talked about he wants a national championship, he wants to succeed. This isn't just driven to be driven. How, when you do have a player of that relentless caliber, I mentioned Tyler Hansbrough, for example, and I'm not saying he's going to be Tyler Hansbrough. Who knows, right? But what I am saying is, what I remember about Tyler Hansbrough's relentless nature is that all his teammates were in awe of it, and it called them all to a higher standard. Do you think we can expect the same from Caleb Wilson's teammates?
Yeah, and I think maybe even more so because Tyler had an inner circle. It was really tight. Two or three guys, the Bobby Fraziers and those type of the world. But when you talk about Caleb, I think he's got to have a bigger circle, and I think he'll bring more guys with him, and he'll have guys follow him to the gym. And when they find out he's doing extra work, they'll want to come do extra work, and that will enable, I think, just a better opportunity for those guys to improve too. And anytime you got everybody working together, we're seeing it, with our guys. Just takes one guy to get up in the morning and get shots by himself. Then all of a sudden there's two. Then all of a sudden there's four, and it grows. And that's what I could see happening with Caleb. Just having more and more guys, and his impact for this team could be huge. Maybe more so off the court and out of practice than not just in practice.
I saw somebody somewhere, I forget, I feel like it was on Twitter, said something to the effect of, are we putting too much hope on his shoulders? Is it too heavy a burden for him to bear? Is it too much of a weight? And my memory was, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but he quote tweeted it and was basically like, nah, I want the smoke. I want that weight on my shoulders. And that's even another level, Coach, because it's one thing to put the work in, but it's another thing to say, like, no, bring it on. I want to help carry the weight. And there's that side of it, Coach, that I want to ask about, but also the leadership. We've talked about that so much this offseason. We've said that Seth needs to step into it. Seems like he wants to. It sounds like from Luca Bogavots' mouth that he wants to do the same. But now you see Caleb saying, put all the weight on the world on my shoulders and I'll carry it.
Yeah, you don't have to be a captain to lead. And very often leadership just evolves naturally. It's not something you have to actually make somebody say, okay, go be a leader. But I think we're still going to play well, and he's not going to be the only guy on the floor. You can put all the pressure you want on him, but when he goes out of the game, they're still going to play. There's still going to be minutes played, and the team's still going to score, and they're still going to make runs with him on the bench sometimes. And it's not just a one-man show. There's other guys with a lot of talent. There's other guys that are going to play NBA basketball too on this team. So it's not just him. So I don't feel like he needs to carry too much of a burden. I don't think he's got to feel like he's got to score 30 a night. He just needs to go out and be himself and play, and good things will happen.
No, Coach, because I think there are other players, and I don't mean specific to North Carolina, I just mean athletes in general, who think they're operating at this level of relentlessness, that think they're doing all this stuff. What is it in that separates? What is the difference there? Is it either it's in you or it's not to have that level of drive? Is it taught? Is it learned? Why don't other players do this at the same level?
It's hard. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes it's a lifestyle is really what it comes down to. It's what you eat. It's when you sleep. It's what you're doing with the 24 hours that you get. And not everybody wants to do those type of things. The best example ever, let's be honest, is Kobe. Kobe just did things that nobody else did. And we hear stories about guys showing up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning thinking that they're grinding. And Kobe's already in the locker room, was full of sweat. He'd already finished the work for his first workout of the day, one of 3 or 4. And the guys were just wired differently. And I do see that in Caleb. I see there's just a little bit different mentality than there are some other guys. Tyler was the same way. Tyler, you just knew that Tyler was going to be at just a different level than everybody else. He just had that drive. That's why he was able to do what he did. He wasn't given even the God-given talents that Tyler was. And they're not anywhere close, let's be honest, to where Caleb's potential could be. But he still has to fulfill those potentials.
All right, man. It's going to be great to see what Caleb Wilson does bring to the table. But another one we've all been champing at the bit is the correct phrase, is Luca Bogavots. And finally, on Tuesday, the Carolina social media team rolled out a little clip of him ripping and running. And boy, that behind the back is smooth with it in transition. We want to talk about point guard Luka. We'll have that conversation coming up here, Coach Rob and I, in just a second. right after I tell you about Upside. Hey, Tar Heels fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Why? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Just download the app in the App Store or Google Play Store and start earning cash at the pump right now. Use my limited time promo code football and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying gas that you already needed anyway. At first, I thought this was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Like, I've been using Upside now for a couple of years, and I cashed in this summer like a $100 thing towards a trip that my family and I were taking just from getting gas, and my referrals getting money from that as well. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code football for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. Again, that's promo code football. Offer varies by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. This episode is also brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Do you need parts fast for a project? Well, Supply House has next-day delivery. I mean, come on, talk about a game changer. The Part Finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use my promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. Again, that's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. As Coach and I carry on our conversation today, moving on to Luca Bogavots, I've got a request for you from Locked On. We want to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and our viewers and make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. So go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey is going to be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can scan the QR code on the screen. You can also find the link in the show notes. Really appreciate you helping us out with that. All right, Coach, on Tuesday, the social media team put up a couple clips from practice. We had one where it was kind of a rip and run from Luka, nice behind the back in transition, pull up three, and then just trots down the court like he's done it 18 million times before. We had another pitch ahead from Kyan Evans in the other one. That was really nice to Seth for a dunk. Would love to see that from the backcourt often this year. But I want to talk about Luka because, Coach, the conversation has been so much about what he's able to do as a wing. Everyone's excited to see Luka the shooter and what he can bring and his prowess there. And I know this clip wasn't him actually distributing to anyone. This was about him ripping and running and himself scoring. But what I think of is that let's not just think of him as some spot up shooting wing. Mm-hmm. How can we enhance our thoughts about Luka's full repertoire and what he's able to do? And I want to confine that answer right now to just him himself, and then we'll zoom out in the next segment and look at what that means for the team.
Yeah, he's really a playmaker first. I don't really the game is becoming more positionless anyway. From the clip, you see him grab a rebound and go. We're trying to do that more at our level. Maybe one guy who can't do that in our entire squad right now. Everybody else can kind of grab it and go. When you want to call that a point guard or not call that a point guard, I don't really think it matters. It just depends on your philosophies. But to be able to see him with that intensity, Coach Williams used to call the urgency of getting the ball and wanting to score as quickly as possible. The team, we talked about tempo and wanting to play fast. He's going to want to play fast. The European pro game is it's pro. It's shot clock's quicker. Everything's quicker. He's used to that. So to see him be able to do that, handle the ball the way he did, and let's be honest, a pull up three in transition is not an easy shot. He made it look very simple, and he made it look like it's something he's done, 1,000 times before. So yeah, it's very exciting to see, to know that he can make plays himself. He can make shots. He can handle it. He can rebound. Obviously, he's got great size for a guard. It's very exciting to finally see him in some Carolina blue.
I know it's so funny how desperate we all are to see more of it. And we're just going gaga over a couple seconds. Now it's a good moment to say, Coach, you mentioned this, I think last week on the show, you've been talking to Coach Frederick and hoping to make a trip up to get to practice sometime. And hopefully that can gain even some more insight for us beyond just like 5 seconds of Luka. And so just put a plug in there. Now, interestingly, Coach, I've been communicating with a source from Montenegro that's like all in on watching everything in Eurobasket and has been tracking with Luka himself for a good long time. So we've been messaging back and forth. And one of the things this source said to me, Coach, I'm just going to quote it with permission from the source. Quote, what's bugging me is that most UNC fans view him as some small forward kind of player, while he is more of a combo guard who can operate on and off the ball and create efficiently for himself and others. He started his career as point guard, but later on switched and learned to play more as an off-ball player in terms of moving off the ball, navigating screens, using and creating space for others and himself. So, Coach, when you hear that about Luka's history and background and development, what is your response?
My response is he probably grew some along the way, and they had somebody else on his team that needed probably shorter that needed to play the point guard position, so he got moved up. That's what I hear, really.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, but the reality is, he's got point guard skills. He's got decision making ability. If you're playing, and let's be honest, we've all been hopefully in a situation where you're the young guy on the court, and you need to pass to the older guys that are there, or you don't get to play. And if he's playing pro at 16, 17 years old, he's not going in there looking to score 30 a night. He was in there to distribute and to make plays, and that's what he learned to do. So I still think he's a big-time scorer. He's got the ability to do that, but he also understands how to play the game and to make the right decision. And to make the right decision with pros, everybody can score. So he's used to being able to share the ball around. He's going to be able to do the exact same thing with this group. They all can score. They all have the abilities, to put the ball on the floor and finish, or to make shots. He's going to know how to make the right decision. So whether you call him a point guard or a wing, I don't think it really matters. Get the ball in his hands. Let him play. Just let him play, and you'll find out that he's a really, really skilled player, and he can score it. He can also distribute it.
Another quote from the source, Coach. Quote, his role changed last season. This is at SC Derby, and he was given a bigger workload and more opportunity to work on his PNR and ISO game. Kind of gave him confidence to try different things on offense. He was later in the season hit with different kinds of coverages that opposing coaches threw at him. Blitzes, switches, doubles, working against different types of defenders in terms of physicality allowed, but managed to handle all of that and to stay efficient. And Coach, like, I love to see, not only the positionless stuff, but being able to just mess around and try out different things. And that's going to put him in a good position for, all right, kind of as you're saying, all right, Coach Davis, whatever it is you need from me, I've got it in the bag. I've worked on it. I've prepared for this. And now we're going to roll. And so, it's funny. We've talked this offseason about Coach Pitino talking about like point guard is dead. And so when you think about it, with Luka, and again, I know so we want to talk about what it means for the team in the next segment, but when you think about that capability to do any of those things, what kind of confidence does that give a player having seen all of that?
Yeah, when we talk about playing against pros, we focus about playing against the other players, but the concept that here is we're talking about, he's faced the defense of professional coaches and all the different schemes defensively that they have. I can't imagine he's going to see a defense he hasn't seen before, or whether it's trapping or wood trap, all kinds of different things you're trying to do defensively to get the ball out of his hands to help to put pressure on him. He's already seen everything, and the game is not going to be too fast for him. If anything, he should be a step ahead mentally, which will allow him to make great decisions. Doesn't mean he's going to be perfect with the basketball, obviously, but to be already see his transition into the college game will be a lot easier than some of the freshmen coming in for the first time.
So if all of this is true, if point guard Luka or, initiator Luka is in his bag, what does it mean for Carolina this year? What does it unlock for the rest of the Tar Heels? We're going to wrap our conversation today with that topic coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Game Time, you guys, college football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless lines, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives you the advantage back to you as a fan. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fee. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than anything else I've encountered or any other way I've bought tickets. Carolina TCU coming up Monday night. The cheapest I can find for selecting your actual ticket is $78, but that, again, includes the fees. But there's a lot of great options, and if you want to try out the zone deals from Game Time, that's even cheaper. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. As we get into our last conversation, more on Luca Bogavots and what his skill set unlocks for the team. A little bit of breaking news here in real time on Wednesday afternoon as I record. It's about 2:30 Eastern time to timestamp it. Coach Belichick has announced that Gio Lopez is going to be QB1 for the Tar Heels. So obviously we'll talk about that more on Friday's show as we do our TCU preview. All right, Coach, we just talked about all that with Luka. The point guard capability, we've seen what Kyan Evans can do as well. Knowing that Luka is more than just a shooter, more than just somebody who floats around the rim, everything he's got in his bag, what to you does that unlock for the rest of the roster?
I think it unlocks a real dilemma when it comes to defending this team. Who guards who? And you take your best defender, your best guard defender. Who's your best guard defender to defend? Do you put him on Luka or do you put him on Seth? Because but then you've got other pieces, and it's going to make things very complicated. And I think the ability to play big, if they wanted to go big, makes it even more complicated. And I love, again, we talked about this many times. We went to a big lineup last year, very successful. Getting a 6'6" guard, it just creates all kinds of problems for the other team, and especially if you have somebody. And again, we don't have enough film. I haven't watched enough about Luka. I guarantee he's got some post skills too, whether it's just simple, basic, fundamental post moves. But if you do put him at the one and you've got a small point, why not just post him up some and do some things? But it gives about as much flexibility as you possibly can in a group with what they have offensively. You have the ability to go small and go fast. You've got the ability to go big and pound it. You got a lot of ability just to penetrate and kick to great shooters. There's a lot of different variety of what they want to do. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. And that's why I want to get to practice. I want to kind of see what they're doing. I know they went a lot of concepts issues last year. They did some circle motion stuff last year. I know that they're not going to stay stagnant with it. And again, you get a professional who's been, doing it, and there's probably, concepts. Nothing's really going to fluster this guy. He knows what to do. He'll pick up things very quickly, and I can see him finding his way to attack whatever they decide to do in a very positive way.
I'll use a specific example that I've been thinking on, Coach, about what this will do is, there's been so much conversation about Kyan Evans and can he come in and be point guard one? In fact, Josh Marlowe and I just yesterday did our roster preview episode on Kyan Evans. So go back and watch that, folks, if you missed it. But it's interesting when you think about him. He was not the leading assist man for Colorado State last year, even though he was playing point guard. That was Nick Clifford. And so, Coach, you think about Luka, he can take a lot of pressure off of Kyan to be the playmaker all the time. Nick Clifford, who was 6'6", obviously a little bit bigger than Luka, but you get the comparison. Colorado State's primary initiator. He had 4.4 assists a game. That allowed Kyan Evans to be the secondary initiator, 3.1 assists a game, while shooting at an elite clip Coach, 44.6% from three. You combine those, that's 7.5 assists a game, essentially, from your 1 and your 3. And that's not even taking into account what Seth Trimble can do as an initiator, the fact that Caleb Wilson and Henri Veesaar are willing and capable passers as well. There's just so much there. So, Coach, my question then, similar to what we saw, all that success at Colorado State with Nick Clifford and Kyan Evans, could we see something similar from Luca Bogavots and Kyan Evans together?
Absolutely. And Kyan Evans doesn't care about his numbers. I will tell you that right now. The only number he cares about is the win column. So I think you'll see more hockey assists with him, where he may initiate a pass that'll lead to another pass to lead to a bucket. And again, he doesn't care. As long as they're scoring and he's being efficient, doesn't really matter. But the fact that he can score, I think he just gives it much more ability for Luka to have the ball in his hands, knowing that you got another shooter over there who can also catch and dribble if you need and make distribute if he wants to. But man, they're just going to have a lot of different options. It's going to be really hard to defend, and I'm just literally looking forward to seeing it happen.
That what you just said, and you said it in your earlier comments as well, what it does to the opposition in terms of scouting and how do we guard this up, how do we draw it up, because this gives Carolina so much lineup versatility. And I know we're just talking about our projected starting 5 here, right? Like, we haven't even brought Jarin Stevenson, Jonathan Powell, Derek Dixon, Isaiah, none of those guys into this conversation yet, Coach. Yeah. And that would just give me headaches. Now, if you were Hubert Davis, how would you go about setting this up in terms of initiation? Would you try to specify, like, all right, whoever gets a rebound, get it to Luka, or whoever has this rebound, get it to Kyan? Or is it, hey, fellas, I trust you. You're all highly capable of this. Whoever has it, get your butt up the court as quick as you can. We were top 30 in the nation in tempo last year. That's what I care more about. How would you approach that?
Yeah, it's spreading the spots. I think more than a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's you just make sure these 5 spots are filled. We talked a little bit as a staff this week about just a basic secondary ball screen, secondary, grab a rebound, push to the wing, have a trail guy set the ball screen, have everybody else spaced, and just something simple like that. It's all predicated on getting a little bit of penetration and being able to kick out to shooters, make shots, or attack from there and get to the lane again. So I would assume something like that is more important. The Evans clip is so impressive to me because he knew where it was going before he rebounded it. I mean, the ball was coming into his hands and he had already determined he knew Seth was flying. And again, we've talked a lot about those two guys. Seth, to me, is still the key when it comes to just being able to break down defenses off the dribble. He's so explosive. Once he does and breaks that, gets to the lane and makes those kickouts, it's just going to make everything easier for everybody else. So we can talk about Caleb Wilson all day. I love it. I think he's an amazing guy. Seth and his leadership and everything else is still going to be the key to an efficiently run offense.
And that's where it's so nice that you're not going to have bigs in Caleb Wilson or Henri Veesaar or even Jarin Stevenson. We can, spread it on out that are going to be anchored in the lane, clearing out all the space that you need for Seth to do what he needs to do or anybody else to attack. And if you think about transition, good grief, if it's Seth coming up and I got Kyan Evans on one side and Luca Bogavots on they are elite shooters. So it doesn't matter who's coming up. You're going to have elite shooting. You're going to have attacking. You're going to have, it's just, I'm getting ahead of myself in excitement, and maybe I shouldn't, but the more I think about the capability here, the more in love with it I am.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And to me, I guess one of the things that bothers me the most with the Caleb Wilson stuff is the negativity of social media in general. And there were so many negative comments about him. He's a 19-year-old kid putting his elbow on the rim and making 5 threes in a row. Who cares if his toe's on the line? It's just a workout. He'll make those adjustments. The coaches will make the adjustment. He makes a couple free throws. He looks great. There's no cuts in those clips. That's just one straight
fluid
set.
shot.
They're going, come on, this kid's really something special. Let's just enjoy it, embrace it. I don't care if you're a Kentucky fan or a Duke fan. Let's just say, man, this kid's really amazing. And let's just keep it at that. I hate the negativity because I think the kid's really special.
That's a good word to get us out on, Coach. I appreciate that. Gang, thanks so much for being with us here on a Thursday. We love hanging out, man, with each other and with all of you. So we appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels, just right under Coach Rob over there on YouTube is a subscribe button. If you're listening, hit subscribe on your favorite audio platform. If you haven't joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, man, now's the time to do it. The link's in the show notes. That football game's coming Monday, and you're going to want to be part of all the conversations in the lead up to, during, and after. Don't forget, yes, it's going to be late. I'll be going live Monday after the game, win, lose, or draw. I guess they can't draw. It's college football. This ain't the NFL. What are we talking about? Anyway, if you want to be a Locked On Tar Heels insider, that link's in the show notes as well. Y'all, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll be back with you tomorrow to wrap the week and prep you for the TCU game. But until then, peace.